Imagine two people. One spends years reading books, watching videos, comparing strategies, and waiting for the perfect moment to make a move. The other knows far less. He doesn't have all the answers. He isn't completely sure what will happen, but he knows enough to get started, so he takes action. 10 years later, the first person has become an expert at planning. The second person has become wealthy. This happens far more often than most people realize. And the strange part is that intelligence wasn't the deciding factor. In fact, many highly successful people made some of their biggest decisions without having all the information. Jeff Bezos did it. Warren Buffett did it. Elon Musk did it. None of them had perfect certainty. And yet they moved forward anyway, because they all understood something that most people never learn. Waiting for certainty is incredibly expensive, because while most people are waiting for guarantees, opportunities are quietly passing them by. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the simple rule many millionaires live by and why trying to be 100% certain may be costing you far more than you think. Today, I want to show you one of the most powerful ideas used by entrepreneurs, investors, and some of the wealthiest people in the world. And the strange thing is that most people have never heard of it. We are taught that successful people make better decisions because they have more information. But what if the opposite is true? What if waiting until you feel completely ready is actually one of the biggest mistakes you can make? Here's what surprised me the most. Many successful people deliberately make important decisions before they feel ready. In fact, some of the biggest opportunities in life appear long before you feel prepared to take them. And the people who recognize this often end up far ahead of everyone else. But most people never realize what's happening until years later. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the simple rule they use, why it goes against almost everything we've been taught, and why waiting for perfect information may be one of the most expensive mistakes of your life. Once you understand this principle, you'll never look at decisions the same way again. Most people believe good decisions come from having all the facts. We want certainty, we want guarantees, we want to eliminate every possible risk before taking action. But here's the problem. Perfect information does not exist. There will always be something you don't know. There will always be uncertainty. And while you're trying to reach 100% confidence, time keeps moving. Every year you spend waiting for the perfect investment strategy is a year of compound growth that you can never get back. Every year you spend planning a business is another year someone else is gaining experience. And while you're standing still, other people are learning, improving, and building momentum. But here's the part most people never realize. The cost of waiting is usually invisible. You don't receive a bill for lost opportunities. Nobody sends you an invoice for years wasted. And that's exactly why invisible costs are often the most expensive ones. By the time most people realize what waiting has cost them, years have already disappeared. Psychologists have a name for this problem. They call it analysis paralysis. And interestingly, intelligent people often suffer from it more than anyone else, because they can see more risks, more scenarios, and more ways things could go wrong. So instead of acting, they continue researching, they continue preparing, they continue planning. But here's where things become dangerous. Preparation has a dark side. At some point, preparation becomes procrastination disguised as productivity. It feels responsible, it feels smart, but in reality, it is often just fear wearing a different costume. And the scary part is that most people never notice when they cross that line. They genuinely believe they are making progress. They tell themselves they just need a little more time and a little more information. But months turn into years, and years quietly turn into missed opportunities. Meanwhile, people who are willing to accept uncertainty are learning faster, adapting faster, and moving ahead. They don't know more. They simply start sooner. And this is exactly why some people seem to make progress while others stay stuck for years. History shows the exact same pattern. Jeff Bezos left a comfortable job on Wall Street to start an online bookstore. Elon Musk invested nearly everything he had into Tesla and SpaceX when both companies were close to failure. Warren Buffett started investing without knowing which companies would dominate decades later. None of these people had perfect information. In fact, if they had waited for certainty, they probably never would have started. But here's what nobody talks about. Successful people are not fearless. They simply understand that uncertainty is the price of opportunity. They know that waiting for 100% confidence often means arriving too late. And perhaps that's the biggest misunderstanding about successful people. They are not better at predicting the future, they are simply more willing to act before the future becomes obvious. Because by the time something feels completely safe, most of the opportunity is already gone. And that's exactly why the biggest rewards often belong to people who are willing to move first. And this brings us to the rule that changes everything. The idea is often associated with Jeff Bezos and is known as the 70% rule. Bezos explained that if you wait until you have 90 or 100% of the information, you're probably making decisions too slowly. Instead, he recommends acting when you have roughly 70% of the information you wish you had. Why? Because speed matters. Decisions can be adjusted later, mistakes can be corrected, but time cannot be recovered. Imagine driving at night. You cannot see the entire road ahead, you only see a short distance in front of you, yet somehow you still reach your destination. Life works exactly the same way. Most people believe clarity comes before action, but very often clarity comes because of action. You learn by moving, you adjust as you go. And here's the interesting part. The people who move ahead are not the people with perfect maps. They are the people willing to start driving. Because progress creates confidence in ways that thinking alone never can. Action teaches lessons that preparation alone never will. And perhaps that's why some people seem to build momentum while others spend years waiting for certainty. So how do you actually apply this rule? First, stop waiting until you feel completely ready. Confidence usually comes after action, not before. Second, give yourself deadlines because endless thinking creates endless delays. Third, remember that most decisions are reversible. You can adjust, learn, and change direction along the way. And finally, focus on progress instead of perfection. Most people overestimate the cost of making mistakes and underestimate the cost of doing nothing. But here's the part that surprised me the most. Wealth is built by people who consistently move forward even when they don't have all the answers. They understand that momentum is more valuable than certainty. Small actions may not seem important in the beginning, but over time they begin to compound. And once momentum starts building, every decision becomes easier than the one before. That's why successful people don't wait for confidence. They build confidence through action. And over time, momentum becomes almost impossible to stop. But the biggest lesson is not about speed. It's about understanding what truly separates people who dream from people who actually build wealth. Now, here is the real secret. Millionaires are not successful because they make perfect decisions. They are successful because they make enough good decisions and they make them early. They understand that life rewards people who act, not people who endlessly prepare. Most opportunities in life come wrapped in uncertainty, and if you insist on waiting until every question has been answered, you'll spend your life standing still while everyone else moves ahead. The truth is that no one knows exactly what the future holds. Not investors, not billionaires, not experts. The difference is that successful people are willing to move forward without guarantees. They trust themselves to figure things out along the way. And that may be the greatest advantage anyone can have. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Money Decoded, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Every week, we break down how money really works in plain English so you can make better decisions and build more wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.